address the angst of the loneliness that occurs?
Oh, wow.
Yes, but we can
Yes.
address that, and rest assured, next week, we're gonna talk about the loss and the grief of it all. So we're gonna go into those kinds of emotional things even more, because what we're talking about here is the life you lost, the person you lost long ago, and the issues of all of that, and the coping that it takes.
Could you say a word about, we've talked a lot about the acceptance within ourselves as caregivers. Can you talk a little bit about our circle, which involves our family, our friends, and how do you deal with the acceptance? Because there are some people who can deal with the disease a lot easier than other people.
You mean within the family?
Within the family or
There are
within your
some-
friendly, within your
Yeah.
circle of friends?
Yeah.
Yes.
Just briefly about angst, there's probably much more to say about angst than we can do today.
Yeah. It's a big
Well, it's a
one.
big
It's a
word.
big, it's a
Probably one
big
of the
topic.
biggest that affects everybody.
Yeah, I was gonna say, and is there anybody here who can say that they haven't felt any angst in this whole scenario, in this whole journey? Whether it's from knot in your stomach to panic attacks, you know. So it is a big topic, and we will take it up more next week when we have more time to do so. But I didn't want to ignore that you had asked the question. It is big, obviously, because everybody goes through it.
Let me jump
The
in on that
family.
when we move to family. Can I just say
Okay,
here?
yeah.
Is note this week, and you already know it's Sunday night or whenever, or every evening after 9 o'clock, because all the programs that you watch with your loved one or, you know, whatever. Even if they're with you, you're lonely. Maybe more so lonely, you know? So just tune into that, because we are gonna talk about that next week. And it's a big one, and learning to cope with that, to put some things in our lives that help us deal with that loneliness better, really usually takes us reaching out to other people, friends, doing things that feed us at the hardest time of the day or the week. And people have ways of doing that and things that they can do, so think about that this week. Go ahead.
And it's about creating a new life.
Yeah.
Like what Mary Ann has been encouraging. It's all about creating a new life that isn't anxiety ridden. And it's all about this and this, so that you're not experiencing as much anxiety as you have in the past. And, you know, going back to knowledge is power, I think the more you come together and learn, a lot of those emotions are gonna be more allayed, because you're gonna learn things on how to deal with all of that, including families that, you know, some people are very accepting and some haven't, some aren't. I'm not sure if this is what you're asking about, but I've certainly learned in the groups we've done here, how many of you caregivers have found that the family members, mostly out of town, you know, who live afar, but some right within, but they aren't living in the house, don't get it. That mom or dad isn't nearly as bad as you're making it sound. Is that part of what
Yeah.
you're talking about?
That's normal. That's normal family dynamics. And what our opportunity is to educate our family about what's going on. So often, our day is not shared with any of the family members because they never believe it's too awful. It's a how many glove day, which Gert would have a 1 glove day or a 6 glove day, or, you know, that meant diarrhea and just all that stuff. But she would let her kids know. That was her code for it's been awful today.
We also called it sunshine.
Sunshine.
They'd see, is it a sunny day in Florida? I said, oh, you can't believe the sunshine.
The sunshine.
It was a double
A
glover.
double whammy. Oh my, and coping mechanism. But the kids knew. The kids knew. And so often we don't want to tell our kids. Because we don't want to impose on them. They've got their own lives. Anyone said that? You know, but I've been a kid, you've been a kid. We want to know what's going on. And in fact, it's, Well, that's because now you know. The only reason you stayed was you knew you needed to know what was going on, Mr. Jeff. He thought he came for Christmas. He's still here. Yeah, he's still here. Yeah. So educating family is really important. Yes,
Well,
Pat?
I think sometimes you just don't want to relive it again.
Do you do journals? Anyone do journaling? Occasionally. Sometimes that's a interesting thing to do to share with family or at least parts of it. Or even on send out an email. We had one guy that would send out an email every morning to his kids and his grandson, because he was the healthcare surrogate, that said, "It's a very difficult day in Naples today. I was up all night, Mom's not doing well," or, "Wow, it's a good day in Naples today." Just that simple, but it did two things. They heard from Grandpa or Dad. They knew he was okay. And they also knew that he was having a good day or a bad day. So educating, communicating with family, we have to teach them about the disease. And so the best way is to invite them down, have them stay for 3 days alone with your spouse. And then take off. That's the best, because they can't keep up those social graces for more than 3 days. How else are they gonna learn?
Right.
One thing, my daughter had said last week, I'm gonna buy 36 hours and give to both of my brothers.
Oh, good.
That's what she said. She said she's
But
tired
then
of
they gotta
hearing
read
what they're
it.
saying, and she said, they need to read the book.
Yeah, then they gotta read it. You know, we hear that so often. Our website is wonderful. I think if you can get our website into their hands and have them start looking things up, or you can say, look at Teepa Snow, or look at Dr. Gary or Dr. Raymond's, point them in that direction, maybe they'll hear someone else saying it.
Knowledge is power.
You know,
But back to the family, and it is an important part in placement because you want all the family on board. You want everyone in agreement with this
Yeah, that would be
decision.
ideal.
yeah.
It almost never happens. With all the families we deal with, there's always someone who's saying, no, it's too early, or, and people family members usually who live up in Boston or Maine, they're full of wonderful ideas for you.
But if you ask them if they want to take care of the person.
Oh, I have small kids, can't do that.
Yeah.
We have this landing, a sunken living room, and Mom might fall in the sunken living room.
There's always a reason.
But you want everyone to agree. But I think it goes back to the fact about education that this disease, people do not still understand this disease, and everyone in this room does because you've had to live through it. But society in general doesn't, and it's a tricky disease because all of those social abilities hang on, and that's what we try to do with daycare and the club room is we try to promote and keep those social skills up and going as long as possible. Those are the same skills that are going to trick your friends and family into thinking this person's fine.
Yes,
When
hear
indeed
that?
they're not.
Oh, can you say that again? That's perfect.
I don't think so.
Yes, you can.
Look for it on the website.
I'm going to rephrase it. You are so successful at taking care of your loved ones, every one of you in this room, every one of you. You are so good at it. You come in, they come in, they're dressed, they're perfect, they're here, and so it fools each of us sometimes. Gosh, I didn't know your husband had dementia. Look how good he is.
Yeah.
He can carry a conversation. It's like, you're such good caregivers, and the caregivers that are not good caregivers, that can't stand it, you're gonna know something's wrong. Because there's gonna be agitation and there's gonna be this kind of stuff. Yes.
I was gonna say, my dad did not tell us. He was down here, and Mother was calling me and saying, there's a stranger in the house. And it was like, call the police, I thought there was a stranger in the house, but
Yeah.
she was really meaning my father. Dad wasn't telling us when he had a nervous breakdown almost. Well,
Yeah.
I know he did because he put her on an airplane. He brought her. He got back on the next plane south. And nursing home right away, because we all had little kids too, but, you know, he didn't tell us. We didn't know what was going on. It was after the fact he told us that, you know, he had hired somebody to take care of her, but he had to call the cops 3 times to find her, and even with help that was with her, the help lost her. We had no idea all that was going on.
Sure,
Yeah.
sure.
And-
Yeah, the stories become really big. All of your stories are big. And one of the things that the groups here provide is your opportunity to tell your story, but also to learn what to do about your stories. And I submit to you that it is so hard to see the big picture when you're right in the middle of angst and anger and hurt and resentment. But if you can, force yourselves every so often to step back, to force yourselves to step back to see the bigger picture. It will help you get perspective, help you look at options, help you understand the knowledge and the things that you are learning. I know it's easier said than done, but I'd love to see you do it daily,
Yeah.
if you could. And obviously what we're doing here, you know, we've spent the first time talking about blockades, and we're trying to follow that up today with encouraging you to confront the blockades and maybe get rid of some of them, and to look at that bigger picture. We're encouraging you to give your person the gift of a caregiver in a good mood. And it's that last one, very last one on your list. Give the gift to your care recipient of a better mood, a better person, a more loving person, a more patient person. All those words you all have already contributed. And next week, we're going to talk about loss and grief, because of what you are feeling with all of this. Underneath, there's all this loss and grief that you haven't possibly, maybe, even looked at. You know, it's part of why you're feeling the way you're feeling. But you have such big lives and big stories right now that it's really hard to realize that this is going on too. And you have every right to be processing that and looking at that in order to help you be a better caregiver by being in a better mood.
You know, jump on that, I will. How about that sentence structure? How about
Okay,
asking
Yoda.
yourself, yeah, how about asking yourself this week, what would I have to change or do to be in a better mood with my loved ones? What would I have to change? Whether they're at home, daycare, or placed. What would I have to do to make myself better them? And one of the things that I know I struggle with is, I have a sister who's mentally ill and has some dementia, but my resentment comes in when you work and you try to do everything, and then, you know, they act out, and then there's no gratitude, and they make things worse for themselves, and I'm going, you know, shoot me. But we're not going to get gratitude necessarily, but it's so interesting, because some of your loved ones will say, thank you, oh, I love you, oh, I can't do it without you, you're wonderful,
Mine is
ad nauseum, and that's awful. And then the person over here said they could at least say thank you. They're not going to do it. So you've got to give yourself some systems of being able to thank yourself and do the best thing and get some positive feedback.
Self-kudos.
Yeah, on that.
May I share a
Yes, oh
story?
yes.
I just want to say, I had an experience this morning, and as I'm sitting here, I'm thinking, after coming here for 4 years or whatever it is, I think I showed a little bit of empowerment this morning. Bob's daughters left late morning, early afternoon today. They come in for 2 nights, and I think it's wonderful that they're coming in to see their father. It doesn't give me enough time to really go away type of thing, but anyway, they're showing more and more understanding of it after all these years. And they're pushing now for us to visit in the summer in Ohio. And this happened, we did that quite a bit, and it happened at Thanksgiving when they're pushing and pushing. And so I did take a trip with him, and it's very, very hard. All the packing, all the, everything, and for the first time, the wheelchair, blah, 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 blah. And they want us for 2 nights. And then, we're in this one little, it's a beautiful place, but it's one little guest room with a full-size bed, it's very difficult. I'm the shower helper, so on and so on. So, they were kind of pushing this, and as they were leaving, it came up again. How about coming for the summer, to visit in the summer? And I said to them, well, how about Bob staying for a couple of weeks with you? And there was utterly silence. I never would have been able to say that before.
Good for you.
Yeah.
Good for you.
So
Did they ever answer that question?
No, it wasn't like we have a raised living
Yeah,
room or anything,
yeah.
but there was something.
But it was similar.
Yeah,
Similar.
but I'll
Still
see how
metaphor.
this plays out now.
Yeah.
But
Excellent.
I
Good for
would
you,
never
Mary.
have been able to do this.
Yeah,
I
good for you.
promise, you guys gave me strength.
I am, that is so good. I am hoping by the end of this, you will definitely, all of you will feel a little empowerment and maybe have confronted your blockades enough to start at least contemplating where you might go after this. What more you might want to know, what more you're willing to consider, and that you will be feeling more empowered. That is our great hope. And it's about time to wrap it up.
Anyone have any last?
Any questions? Yeah, last
I
questions
think give
and
yourselves
things we
a
wanted
hand.
to. Yes.
You guys are the heroes. Thank you.